Hello, everyone. This is Luda Kopekina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News Review, where we rate the articles that we have 5 or 6 or 7 a day, essential, important, and optional to help you navigate through all of that change that's happening in the AI field. Today, we have three of us. Paul, Ankash, and myself, and we will review 6 articles for you today. Please comment. The articles are on gaiinsights.com/articles. We'd really appreciate your comments. Okay, let's proceed with the first article, Ankash.
Sure, Luda. So the first one that we have for today comes from Microsoft, and Microsoft has added a researcher and analyst role in Microsoft 365 Copilot.
Yes, Paul, what did you think about this one? It's in some sense a catch up, but providing this to a very broad audience in a quite a significant way. What did you think?
Yeah, so I spent probably about half hour researching this and trying to get on, and I couldn't quite get on because I ran out of time. I think it's important. I think one, it's important for two reasons. The key one is that they're really focusing on internal company data, so it's using chain of thought and other techniques to use kind of the OpenAI deep research thinking approach, but going against your own enterprise data and on SharePoints and everything else, which I think is a great step forward and a nuance of this whole emerging category of AI-based enterprise search here. It is a catch up. It is a vendor announcement. I didn't see, a lot of. I didn't find it the demos itself very compelling. He was all excited. Look at that. We can see the model thinking, and we all know that's been out for things. So I had it as important, Luda. I mean, definitely something. 90% of our AI leaders use Microsoft internally. They need to be well aware of this. Need to understand it. Need to have someone on the team testing it, and they need to understand what kind of surprise pricing model Microsoft has behind this, because the pricing is never cheap, always surprising, and always frustrating.
Yeah. So I think this is the slew in, we'll probably see more of Microsoft announcements tomorrow. They have a week of caucusing, I think, in Seattle. So this is probably one of the announcements that this week for them. I also thought it was important, Paul, exactly for what you said. It's access to the internal data that people are already on, right? So other tools allow you to do what they are offering, but you need to put them in, right, and integrate them. Here, it's native, and it gives you immediate access and immediate value potentially. So yeah, okay, important. All right.
Yeah, I'm just going to highlight. I mean, I've had now 3 companies are trying to decide their kind of AI. They call it enterprise search, but they mean AI enabled enterprise search, and looking at Glean, OpenAI, and Microsoft. So this really is an emerging space. And they want something more than just searching within my Salesforce. They want to search for all the assets they have in an organization, which makes sense.
Yeah. And at the end of the article, they talk about agent flows and deep reasoning in Copilot Studio. That's also part of the announcement, but it kind of really is not in focus. Okay, let's mark it as important and proceed. Ankash, please.
Sure. So the next one is a case study from Microsoft and a Korean beauty giant.
Yes. So this particular one is an announcement of a Korean beauty giant to use OpenAI, or Microsoft rather. Not, all right, Microsoft and OpenAI to help women who buy cosmetics to really find the cosmetics that is just right for them. They started doing it through assistants and the like. I actually think this is a catch up. I rated it as optional because there are other folks like Unilever and others who are really in production and have demonstrated quite a bit of value in revenue, in stickiness, and the like. So I think it's a great advancement from this company, but I think this is not the state of the art from my perspective, because the selfies, the analysis, the long-term perspective for women is very important. And so they go where that is easily available, and it's maybe other platforms rather than this one. Paul, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree with the rating. I do like one. We know I really like case studies, so it's a good case study. And on Kaj, I think we'll have a footnote, optional, but still put it in. Have Parika put it in our case study database. Um, I think the whole notion of hyper personalization we're going to see in the B2C side first, and this is a good example of it. And there's just so much potential. I think 5 years from now, we're going to look back and be shocked at a lot of these product categories like beauty and medical thing were not hyper personalized.
Yeah.
This is a great comment that Kevin had on an earlier one, Luda. But this one I had is optional. I agree with you.
All right. So let's put it as optional, Hankaj, and let's proceed.
Yeah, and Luda, if I just want can we display Kevin's? I thought his comment was really important on the
Yeah.
first article, where he's talking about applying AI to proprietary data leads to competitive advantage, whereas using AI on public data is good for efficiency inside the organization. So if employees go into the public robots, the Chat GPT and Claude, but but just maybe putting some of their own needs in is very different than using these AI models on your own company data.
Right. Thank you, Paul. This is a good comment. Thanks, Kevin. This is a good comment. And let's proceed.
Okay, the next one comes from Databricks, and Databricks has launched Tau, which is test time adaptive optimization. You can use this test time compute to train efficient LLMs without labeled data.
Yeah, so this is one of those algorithmic optimizations, as John would call it. Paul, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's I had it as optional. I think it fits into the and continue prove trend. This notion that we don't need labeled data, but we can still improve everything almost feels like nirvana. It is from Databricks. They just did a big announcement with Anthropic. But from AI leader, they don't need to spend time on this until it gets more used and there's more use cases out there.
Yeah, so Paul, let me highlight a couple of things that I think might put it in the category of important. I was between optional and important. Here's why important. So if you have a case in production, so you have a lot of data on inputs and outputs. So all this mechanism, or all this software optimization rather, requires is take that inputs and outputs, run this on it, and here you go. You have an optimized, higher performance product. So I don't know why people in production would not use this, because they don't share the data on the like performance metrics, but they do share the quality data and how they outperform the competitors. So I just think this is an important optimization for the ones that are already in production to optimize it further for runtime.
I can live with that, Luda. Yeah, great. I wouldn't argue with that.
Okay, Ankash, what did you think? Just
Yep, no, I
to
agree. Yeah, sure, Luda. I agree with your point. I think this might save us a lot of cost on the initial fine tuning of the model. Because if you can do it with few examples at the inference time and also save on the labeling cost, I think that's a really good value add. So the success of this is still to be tested, but yeah, really good algorithm to sort of save uh, a lot of cost on the fine tuning side of it and data labeling part of it.
Okay.
vis-a-vis inference time compute.
Okay. So, Paul, since you can live with it, let's label it important and proceed. Okay, Ankash.
Yeah, sure. So the next one comes from Semi-Analysis, and they have launched a new rating mechanism for GPUs called Cluster Max.
Yeah. So this company is doing a tremendous job on picking up specific areas and putting a lot of data around it. So in this case is the area is renting the GPUs, and it hasn't been rated according to them how good they are. I put it as optional, even though this is an area of maybe important, but optional for that's where I ended up. So it's essentially a system that you could rate all of the vendors out there. So Ankash, if you can scroll to the ratings, the one chart down, I think it's down. So they have platinum, gold, silver, and the like, I think 5 categories, and it's a graphic chart. Go down, I think. No, hold on. There was a one. No, it's up. Let me see. Oh, it's almost on the second page. So it says they rated according to 5 or 6 categories: the security, the price for value, and the like. And the ratings are in this chart. So they know, however, that in most cases, large companies go with hyperscalers and use CoreWeave. So that's why it's sort of obvious, and that's why I rate it as optional. But if you are in the market to rent GPUs, this is a very important study to give you independent perspective of which companies are good and which ones are still coming up. Paul, what did you think?
Yeah, I actually had as important just for this chart and who it's coming from. I mean, Semi-Analysis, we see that continues to do real quality work. And this was the first, it's probably others out there, but this is the first chart I've seen from a real credible source on rating the differences. And, we still have, my estimation, 10,000 AI leaders coming on board around the world in the next 12 months with budget. And they're going to have to decide, where we're going to host some of these things if they're going outside their hyperscalers. So I had as important because of this chart.
Okay. Tremendous. Let's rate it as important and proceed, Ankash.
Sure. So the next one comes from McKinsey, and it talks about how CEOs can maximize operational impact from Gen AI and agentic AI.
Yeah. So a step back article from McKinsey highlighting several best practices. What did you think about this, Paul?
Yeah, Akash, if you can stop right there. Some of the McKinsey articles I really struggle with. I mean, I thought this chart, the next one, I mean, they have a Gen AI Center of Excellence. I've actually not seen a company with a Gen AI. I've seen companies with an AI Center of Excellence. So I don't know if they are proposing that companies have a separate one for traditional AI. This chart here, Akash, I thought was good. I mean, companies really are struggling with the centralized, decentralized, who owns this, how much power it gets. So in that sense, I thought this was a useful discussion for an AI leader just starting to come to grips with this. So maybe important, but I don't have a strong feelings between optional or important on this, Luda.
Yeah, I was going optional.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of reasons. So it is really for a large company, nothing wrong with it, where the roles of COO, CIO, the business units are pronounced, right? So it's not for the mid-tier, really. And the centralized approach versus decentralized, it's important for the large companies. So I think it's missing somewhat the market is going after the really big companies. And the 3 best practices that they're highlighting is somewhat obvious. put the security guidelines, have a strategy, this type of level that just, I think people know this. So that's why optional.
Can be applied to any kind of a new technology adoption.
Yeah, that's right. It's so I think people kind of read this before, even unrelated to AI. So that's why optional. What Ankaj okay with optional?
Yes, yes, Luda.
Okay. All right. Well, optional, going optional.
Yeah, and Kevin notes as well that AI is better focused than just Gen AI.
That's true. Okay. Um, let's proceed then, Ankash.
Sure, Luda. Okay, the last one that we have for today is a research paper which talks about infinite U flexible photo recrafting while preserving your identity.
Yeah, if you can go to the paper and see the images, so and then scroll down. So the images are quite stunning. They take one image and they have this new methodology of how to input text and adjust the images to being in a different environment and softer, clearer, and this is quite stunning. So this is advancement, maybe in the category of everyday miracles, but I rated it as optional, even though it's important for the marketing folks potentially. Um, what did you think about this, Paul?
Yeah, Everyday Miracle. It's breathtaking what's going on with imaging in the last 6 months here. I mean, where we were a year ago, being able to keep brand, be able to get the letters correct, be able to, like I was yesterday moving around where the sun orientation was. Yeah, so Everyday Miracle, optional, but if you're a marketer, you have to be on top of this because it's going to drive unbelievable cost savings and creativity. It's absolutely breathtaking. And as I was saying the other way, and this is the everyday tools. So people should never now have a boring presentation. You don't need Microsoft clip art. You have these unbelievable tools that can have realistic images and convey your ideas to executives and prospects.
Yeah, so Ankash, if you can scroll to page 4, I believe that there's a schematic. So they explain how technically they do it. It's an open source, which is tremendous. This one. So they take a picture, they put it in, and then you don't have to, and then you have a text of what you want this picture to be. So this picture of a woman, right, transfers to the park, in the park, different in different environment and differently shaped, completely different picture. So you can generate quite a bit of pictures like that, and they are really high quality. So great tool, everyday miracle, but optional, right, Paul? Or should we mark it as important? What do you think? Optional.
Ankaj, where are you on this? And the Kevin, there are others
I
out there.
think definitely optional, Paul. We saw the tool from OpenAI yesterday, right? That is something which is, I believe, more valuable to even advertisers and marketeers rather than something like this. So it has improved a lot on the text part of it, getting images in proper settings and everything. And this is just having your image in different settings. So I think optional for this one compared to what we saw from OpenAI yesterday.
And others, right?
Right.
Okay, and others. Okay, so let's our last article for today, Ankaj. If you have a scorecard, Paul,
Sure.
any announcement in the meantime?
No, I'm not. One thing I'm excited about, I've got a meeting today over at Harvard Business School, meeting with their AI team and the product management team that's building the AI tools that the students are using. So I'm very excited to get an update from them and hear how students are adopting this.
Interesting. And I'm heading for a hackathon that is with a group, C10 Labs, that affiliated with MIT, and they are hacking of how to provide more tools and skills development, and so that would be very interesting. All right, so we have, let's see, for today, we have 3 importance and 3 optional, 50-50. Great Thursday. So thank you guys for listening, Kevin, particularly for your insights. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.